Hello, everyone. You're listening to the Socially Desi Show, the podcast that motivates you to live, create, and inspire. If this is your first time here, welcome. On our show, we discuss tips and strategies with our guest speakers on how to tackle problems related to personal growth, mental health, relationships, entrepreneurship, and health and fitness. So hit that subscribe button and go check out our website at sociallydesi.com for more of such content. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Karmesh Gupta. He is the CEO and co-founder of WiJungle. WiJungle is a unified network security gateway that enables organizations to manage and secure their entire network through a single window. Hello, Karmesh. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Anurag. Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure. It's mine, Karmesh. Thank you for doing this with Socially Desi. So, Karmesh, first of all, to our audience who are not aware about your professional journey, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. So, Anurag, I have been a person who has been consistently involved into the entrepreneurial side for around 8 years now. I started my journey back in 2013. It was somewhere in January when I realized that I really want to be an entrepreneur. And I started working around the different ideas or different, the plans from different areas, not specifically to cybersecurity or IT or technology domain.
Okay.
And that's where things started turning off for me. It was Rajasthan Royal on 6th of March 2013. I remember the date. And they were into our college. I was in the second semester.
Okay.
And that's the time they were looking out for people who could help them out in their corporate social responsibility, CSR activities. So they were actually engaged with certain organizations like Rotary International, Airtel, who was sponsoring their surgeries, and the organization which was the main associator, which was Operation Smile. I got the opportunity to work there. I had around 18 people working under me. And that's the point which actually changed my entire perception about the life, because that's the place where I got the opportunity to meet multiple people who I actually saw on television only. Probably you may say Shane Watson or maybe Rahul Dravid or probably all the co-owners of Rajasthan Royal. I got the opportunity to work with them. So it was for the tenure IPL season 2013. So that's how my journey kicked off.
Okay.
And but somewhere I had this keen, you can say, inclination towards cybersecurity, and that actually pushed me to join Lucidius, which is now rebranded as Safe Security, run by my college alumni Saket Modi. So that's where I joined them as a summer intern for web security analyst. I worked with them for around 6-7 months on part-time basis. And after moving out from there, I co-founded HTTP Card Technologies, which is the legal name of WiJungle.
Okay.
So this was in 2014, October 2014. I was in my 5th semester, full of energy and with a lot of ambition to embrace my journey and take it up to the, you can say, possible heights. So this is the phase where I learned a lot of things. And from 2014 to 2017, a lot of ups and downs happened in my personal as well as professional career. So 2014, we started with a lot of energy, a lot of things involved here and there, a lot of buzz, because I think the second person from my college who was doing something into the startup space, probably on a larger scale and into a more formalized or organized way. As a student, I was really being supported by all the college, I would say, administration, management, professors, and everyone. So we started the first project, which was completely free Wi-Fi service, and it was the first time some private company did it in India. So a lot of appreciation from government, from industry side, but it didn't work out well for us, and we were required to shut it down almost a year later. So in November 2015 around, we closed the things. We were under a lot of loss, consolidatedly around 50 lakhs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point where I and Praveen, who is the other co-founder, realized that we don't have to look back. See, we
Right.
knew this might happen. And that's the phase which one should be ready for. We started this journey to be successful, and that's the end goal. Whatever it takes, we'll do it,
True.
because an idea might or might not work, but that doesn't kill our spirit to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
So that's a very simple baseline basis which we move forward. And I think the only way we were able to realize and see to recover this loss and come back again to the product space was to enter into the service segment, because I think that's the segment where you do not need much investment or much resources available in your hand. Probably a laptop and a mobile phone you have, you can code and deliver your projects. So that's the you can say bounded choice we had. We didn't had any freedom on that particular aspect. So we did services for around a year, served Indian Railways, 9 apps, multiple other good organizations, and almost 80% of the loss was covered by December 2016. Within a year, we did so, and we
That's
were able
great.
to manage it out. So when it happened, we thought, let's come back to the product space again.
Okay.
And this time we had a very clear vision that we will not going to do something which is very innovative, because when you do something very innovative, in terms of, I'm saying people take a lot of time to understand how this thing will work or so. You have clarity as an entrepreneur, but people need some time to build perception or intuition around it. So that's a model which takes longer adoption period.
Yeah.
And when it takes longer adoption period, you need to have that kind of cash available with you to support the internal system. Otherwise, you're going to collapse. And that's what happened with us in the first project. So we ensured it, and we thought, let's do something which is working in the market. Generating cash is the priority right now. Innovation index, which I call as I2 within our organization, can be increased with time. But at this moment, when we are entering a product space from a profitable service segment, we have to ensure that this cash flow remains there. So extending our first project, we launched social Wi-Fi, which you might have seen into the hospitality sector, cafes, or you would have seen it into the restaurant, bar, where people connect to the Wi-Fi, share certain data, and they are able to log in. So that's what was an extension of the previous project which we built. We ran it well for the first month, around 13 restaurants we onboarded.
Okay.
But within the second month, it was in February 2017, when Jio announced their 303 plan, right?
Yep.
We realized that this space will not going to work out for us. I think people don't need now the data to connect to a restaurant Wi-Fi to access their Gmail. They already have sufficient data in their mobile phone.
True.
So the 3G or the 4G that was available. So eventually we took a break for a month, put our brain around that this is our second failure, and eventually the third transaction. First, we started product, entered service. From service, we again entered the product, and this is again not going to work. So overall, within a month, after meeting multiple people who were kind of in trouble, entire telecom was in trouble because of geo aspect. A lot of price change and those aspects were handling. So we came to a conclusion that, see, data part is over. Right? Somebody else is fulfilling that need. That's okay. What we need to look up is, we need to look up a space where we can rely ourselves for the next decade. Something which will have the demand. So cybersecurity, I was involved in since 2013. Praveen was also into the similar space. So we thought, why not to look beyond the data? If people will have so much of data, they will be all digital. And when so many people are there going digital, definitely the crimes will going to increase. So security is the next phase. We are not able to perceive it since a long time. Why aren't we working onto that space? That's a space we understand very well. We have experience, expertise, and we know the challenges existing in that market. So this is how in April 2017 we started WiJungle
Okay.
as a unified platform, because we knew that in cybersecurity the deployment architecture is very, very, you can say, discrete. So if you have a problem statement, you need a specific problem for each of specific solution for each of your problem. So this is how the industry was, and
Mm-hmm.
was actually moving to a transaction where people were looking forward to a comprehensive solution, a single platform or a single product which can suffice multiple problem statements. So this is how we entered. We did it, started from SMB segment initially,
Okay.
then slowly and gradually uh, went global. So the first time we went outside India was in South Asia. It was
Mm-hmm.
in Thailand specifically, and then we picked up multiple countries. So within I would say next 20, 25 months, 24 months, specifically, we touched around 25 countries globally. That means we had channel partners, we had customers, and regular transactions were happening. And then we, you can say, kind of shifted the focus towards large enterprises, because we got a lot of confidence that yes, we will be able to deliver the value which we were actually trying to, you can say, we had in our vision, because SMB is a segment where you can try a lot of things.
Yeah.
They are not vulnerable and they are not critical that if the network goes down for an hour or so, there will be a lot of issues or a lot of monetary loss. But same will not be a story in the large enterprises. When we got confident, we started moving towards the large.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to say that we are growing pretty well now. 450% year on year growth we have been able to see in our turnover. Team has, you can say, kind of tripled in the last 3 years.
Okay.
And now looking forward to expand. That means operationally start our services in South Asian countries. As of now, we have all our operations centered in India, but probably from April onwards will be available there too.
Perfect, perfect. That's great, Karmesh. So, Karmesh, you spoke about being a unified network, right? It's a unified network security that you're talking about. So, what does that actually mean for an organization, for a corporate organization or any SME? What does that incorporates? Like, what is that unified network that we are talking about?
Sure. So unified network security platform, or you call it as a gateway, is
Mm-hmm.
something which is a single comprehensive product which fulfills all your security demands, which earlier were getting fulfilled through standalone products like network firewall, or you may call it as next generation firewall,
Mm-hmm.
web application firewall for your web server protection, data leakage prevention, endpoint security, vulnerability assessment, your guest internet access management, and SD-WAN. So these are the 7 components where we have our focus, which we, you can say, deliver comprehensively through a single product. So 7 different capabilities, which earlier were getting delivered through 7 different products, now getting accommodated through one product. And what is the use of organization, and why should organization move towards this kind of unified architecture? So there are 4 key benefits which organizations are able to draw out of it. Number
Mm-hmm.
1, they decrease their investment. If they move towards unified architecture, it decreases their overall investment by up to 60%. That's the key one.
Mm-hmm.
Second, it simplifies their management and operational challenges. So
Okay.
imagine you have 7 different products, and 7 different products have 7 different dashboards, admin dashboards to manage them. Eventually, their operational hurdle or operational, you can say, efficiency goes down, because for every single change, they have to move towards 7 different dashboards and understand them and make sure that they are well synchronized to work. So
Right.
that is not there. Now it's a single dashboard which gives you all visibility. Third aspect is we are industry specialized. That means all the other products which you were earlier deploying in your architecture, distributed architecture, were generic products. They were not meant for a particular industry.
Okay.
If you are giving it to defense, the same product was going to education, same product was going to hospitality, retail, transport, ITES. But now, when you are going with a unified solution, this solution has a lot of spatialization
Hmm.
with respect to the vertical where it is getting deployed. So that's the third key point, uh,
Okay.
which actually helps them to serve their particular vertical in the best possible way. That means there's no parallel competition to it. When people want to experience, people would say that, okay, I think the kind of requirement which WiJungle serves, no generic product can do that.
Hmm.
Fourth aspect is that we have synchronized security. Synchronized security, what it does is probably uh, if there's an organization and there are 200 people sitting in the organization within the office network,
Mm-hmm.
and any one of them any one of them uses a pen drive, a corrupt pen drive, right, into their system, eventually that malware will also get transmitted to their system from that pen
Hmm.
drive, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And from that system, since all the 200 systems are connected in network, that malware can replicate to other systems too, and eventually can chalk down the entire network.
Yeah.
So what synchronized means is, since we are sitting at the gateway, since we also have our endpoint client, so if the endpoint client gets to know that there's a malware in the system, it instantly passes on the instruction to the network firewall, right? And network firewall isolates that system from the entire network. So
Okay.
what happens is that only that system gets corrupted. You
Hmm.
save the other 199 systems which were there in that network. So this is happening because there's a synchronization between endpoint security and the network firewall.
All right.
Earlier, this could not be established because you were using multiple products, and
Hmm.
those multiple products are from different companies. I'll give you a simple example to make this understand to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
You have a smartphone now, and
Yep.
smartphone does majorly four things. One, helps you to connect to people via call, the basic aspect. Second, has the camera to click pictures or make videos. Third, it helps you to surf internet, right? Fourth, you can play audio and video. If you go back to the previous world, if you are required to do all these four things, you needed four different products.
Yeah.
One, a feature phone. Two, a camera for clicking the photos. Number three was a maybe VCR for running the audio and video.
Mm-hmm.
And fourth was an internet navigator. Correct. So now you see,
Yes.
like, if you are purchasing these four things from different companies, Nokia, feature phone, Canon, or maybe Kodak at that given point in time, of maybe a camera, and a different company things, they are not in sync at all. But when you are using a smartphone, all these four things are absolutely in sync. They are
Yes.
synchronized because all of these four things are within the same product. Correct. So I think
Yes.
people will be able to make out what I mean by synchronized now.
Hmm. Hmm. True. True. No, I completely agree. I guess this is a very viable approach towards data security, towards securing an organization's workaround and whatever they are doing in their daily work life. So when it comes to securing data, do you feel that a unified network security is the best viable option for like all these small sector organizations as well, for startups as well? Or is this like has to be done for a specific sector, or maybe or maybe organizations who are at a particular level or dealing with a particular type of data and security concerns?
Best part about the unified solution, whether it's an appliance format or whether it is getting delivered through cloud, because
Hmm.
cloud delivered unified security is called SASE, SASE,
Okay.
which is a term coined by Gartner in 2019. Uh, this is a generic product meant for small, medium, and large enterprises. Larger enterprises, because they already have made a lot of investment, it's difficult for them to move that quickly towards the unified security. Okay,
Hmm.
they are building their confidence on these kind of new transformation, and eventually wherever they are getting the space to transform their architecture, they are adopting it.
Okay.
Coming to small and medium, this is the best choice one can have. Like at this moment in India, at least specifically talking from India perspective, you will see 3 years or 4 years back, SMBs were not using any kind of security product. Leave
Hmm.
those multiple standalone, not even the crucial one, which is an underlying product, that is network firewall, was not in the any of the SMB you can say network.
Hmm.
Even I have seen startups who raised maybe multiple round of funds. I'm talking about startups having 100 and 120 people in their team. I have found that they are also not using such certain sort of products. You can imagine, like I think I'm giving the example of startup because those are founded by, you can say, all IT, you can say, aware guys, probably from NIT, IIT, or so. And I've seen that, and I'm quoting this example from my network only, where I've seen people from these kind of colleges starting up and not taking care of that aspect. So leave the non IT sector people. If IT people are not doing it, leave the non IT manufacturing
True.
companies and tier two or tier three who will be using it. So, so that's the aspect, that this product through a single dashboard makes it very easy for such organizations to take care of them. And since things are now moving towards cloud delivered, this will be all on OPEX model. So it will be like subscription, monthly subscription, where you have to pay X amount of rupee, maybe 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, based on the services you have taken and the number of people you have in your network.
Hmm.
So the billing will be there. So how convenient it is now. Earlier it was all OPEX. You need to
Yeah.
invest upfrontly, 5 lakh, 10 lakhs, 1 CR. Upfrontly you have to pay to the vendor to get the services. Now it is all going towards OPEX model, and that too all services on a single click. So unified is something which is a very, very major transformation in the cybersecurity. And I would say this is a biggest transformation which has happened in the cybersecurity industry in the last 15 to 20 years.
True, true. And Karmesh, I was even reading this report by NASCOM, which actually spoke that by 2021, this was a 2020 report, which said that by 2021, we would actually require around 1 million cybersecurity professionals in India, which is a big number. So I wanted to understand from you, uh, why do you need so many cybersecurity professionals? What's the challenge right now that we face as a country?
See, I think this is a very common problem, even into the vendor side, even onto the customer side, because
Hmm.
customers also need the IT security professional. And we as a vendor who are developing the product
Hmm.
also feel that shortcoming. So I'll give you a very, very clear example why there's a gap. Let me clarify this to you in a very simple term. And probably, if there are people who are doing their undergraduation and are onto the verge to complete, they might be able to, you can say, get an insight about this.
Hmm.
You see people pursuing computer science, they're engineering into computer science, or maybe the IT or ECE too. You are taught about networking, and computer networks is one of the most underrated course you will find within the entire engineering. people and students, even the you can say college administration doesn't considers it as a very very potential sector.
Hmm.
That's one aspect I want to make it clear. And I think I never find people, even in my college batch or even the juniors, who are working into network segment. No, everyone is all chasing towards AI, ML, data science. Earlier, it
Hmm.
was all inclined towards Android and iOS when it came in 2013, 12,
True.
13 time. Then it was all towards Python. So the industry has been like what all our seniors are doing, what actually helps me to get an intern. And that's how the world has been, at least in the India side, has been going towards. So no one, at least from a college where I come from, out of the 300 students in my batch, no one is specifically working into computer networks domain.
Hmm.
So you understand this side. So
Yeah.
that's one of the key things. Second, when you are not taught about networks, you can't go to the security side of it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right? You need to first know what exactly happens in the network. You need to understand what exactly is the architecture of different kind of communications we are having, because ultimately cybersecurity is all about the internet communication. If you're
Yeah.
not making internet communication, you'll not get any kind of attack or something sort of.
Hmm.
It's a very simple funda. So you need to understand how the internet is working, how the networks are working, and then you will be able to build your approach towards security. So when network is not being given our importance, leave the security aspect of it. This is a
True
major,
that.
major gap.
Yeah.
There are colleges, universities who have taken the step now,
Hmm.
who are coming up with an introduction of course into the cyber security or cyber crime or cyber laws. And I think that's a good step. And this will going to eventually bring up lot many minds into this sector,
Hmm.
which can fulfill the demand and eventually will help the country to grow. Let me quote one thing over here. I keep on saying this at multiple forums. I keep on telling this to people. Cybersecurity in the current time, right? And the companies involved from India who are incorporated in India and are running the business from India are
Hmm.
the front runners in Industry 4.0 from India.
Wow.
Industry
That's interesting.
4.0 is all about data science, the upcoming computer science technologies, maybe including crypto, including all other aspects. And cyber security is the industry vertical, or is a industry which is ahead of all the other ones. So we
Hmm.
are the front runners into it. And when I say this, there's a fact behind it. And the fact is, there are more than 20 plus cybersecurity companies from India who are selling well across 20 plus countries
Hmm.
worldwide, globally. Have you seen any sector, at least in the startup side, where there are so many companies and are serving 20 plus, each company is serving more than 20 plus countries and
Wow.
successfully? Have you seen any sector, at least from India, who is so well matured and are doing well? And
Not really.
cybersecurity is a sector which has got the least funding, least
Hmm.
external investment. You might not come across the news of funding very often when it comes to cybersecurity startups. So
Hmm.
least funded sector, all the companies which are growing, they are all majorly bootstrapped and are doing globally well. So India has a true potential to be a global leader in cybersecurity in the next 5 to 7 years. And I think there are multiple entrepreneurs like me who are into cybersecurity, who are really working hard in
Hmm.
their own respective category. Certain people are doing it in DLP, certain people are in deception, SIEM. We are into unified space. Everyone has their own, you can say, ambitions to take the country ahead of all the other major nations who have been ruling India for a long time in security. And I
Hmm.
think I think everyone should be proud of this fact, and the government and the private sector both should support this kind of, you can say, you can say an edge which the Indian cybersecurity startups will get.
Hmm. No, that's really interesting, Karmesh. And since we are on the topic of talking about professionals, the requirement of cybersecurity professionals in 2021, which is like, almost 1 million. So, as WiJungle, what do you look at in a candidate when you go and hire?
See, it all depends on to the profile. If we are really going towards technology domain and we are really looking forward for a kernel programmer, all we
Okay.
need and all we check up is his algorithms, his logics, how sound he is about his logics or algorithms or data structures. That's the key fact. Second, when it comes to the sales profile, that's a place where a person should be clear about his thoughts onto the technology, not from a very deep perspective, but at least superficially, he should be aware about how things work so that he can make suitable comparison. He can show a value to the customer while making a pitch. So I think from sales and from technology, there are varied, um, you can say, skills which are being looked upon.
And what sort of profiles are
Specifically,
there? What sort of profiles are there
oh,
under cybersecurity professionals, like, when it comes
multiple.
to techies? Yeah.
Sure, I think people can build up their career in multiple domains. One, which I oftenly say, people who are not even having interest towards coding, but understand technology well and can explain it well to the people, they can be into the sector and they can be working onto a profile called pre-sales technology specialist or pre-sales specialist. So that's a kind of job profile where you need to be aware about every single aspect involved into the product. You should be able to explain, you should be able to conduct the successful proof of concept to your customers, but that does not require the knowledge of, you can say, coding and so
Hmm.
eventually, why I'm telling this, because I see that not all computer science graduates or electronic graduates do the coding job or
Yeah.
are developers or programmers. They somehow, people who do not have interest, they somehow switch towards QA, quality analyst. They somehow switch towards operations, marketing, sales, and slowly and gradually build their career into it. So this is also one of the domain which you can specifically look into, has lucrative packages.
Hmm.
So nothing to worry from that aspect to financial aspect too. Second, when it comes to the programmer or developer, there are 3 to 4 profiles. One profile is the kernel programmer
Okay.
who looks after the, you can say, crucial module development of to the product. So he is the one who has to look up all the kind of efficiencies which are required within the product. He's the one who is required to, you can say, develop or you can say plan the modules or further features required into it.
Okay.
So a core person and a real asset for any of the company. Second is, as I mentioned, uh, about the security analyst, because I myself have been an analyst.
Okay.
That's something where when our product is almost being completed by the development team, we give it to the analyst so that they can put up their all knowledge into it and ensure that whatever has been built up is working well around.
Hmm.
Not from the testing aspect, because that is QA job, but security analyst does it from the practical aspect by putting all their sincere knowledge into it and to ensure that yes, it fulfills all the cases which they have seen into the corporate. It fulfills all the, you can say, security, um, you can say, effectiveness. So
Yeah.
so those are the things which are done by the cybersecurity or information security analyst. And so these two core, you can say, positions
Mhm.
are something which I think every cybersecurity company looks for.
Perfect, perfect. I guess that's a very good insight, guys. So, everyone who is listening out there, if you have a friend or if you are planning to get into cybersecurity, I'm sure you would find these tips very helpful. And definitely reach out to us if you want to get in touch with Karmesh, get more, guidance from him. He can be a good mentor to you as well. Apart from this, Karmesh, you also gave a few opportunities. You talked about a few opportunities for entrepreneurs getting into the cyberspace. You also talked about the challenges here, right? That most of these companies are bootstrapped and self-funded. Uh, any tips you would like to share with the upcoming entrepreneurs who are planning to make their or they're planning to start their own business in the cybersecurity domain?
Absolutely. I think when you look a particular space, ensure that whatever you are trying to do is something which is at least very unique from the India perspective. Somebody might be doing it in Europe, somebody might be doing it in US. If you're replicating that kind of thing in India, and if there are no competitive companies, that means you are at the very, very early stage onto the growth curve. That's a very right opportunity for you. That's a very right opportunity for you from the investment perspective too, because people have seen that kind of impact in US, and eventually those companies are building up their market in US. And if you can parallelly build your market in India, gives a good perception. Uh, and I'm also saying this from the, you can say, analyst perspective too. There are multiple companies like Forrester, Frost and Sullivan, Gartner, who does the global vendor assessment,
Hmm.
where they listen the vendors and then finally publish the reports around maybe the magic quadrant reports, or maybe the you can say the another market reports which they publish throughout the year. So there are very high chances that you will also get a good amount of support from those places.
Mhm.
So that's a key point to keep in mind. Don't do something which is very, very new, where even the startups or companies in US are also struggling to prove it as a successful or a viable business model. So don't do it from India. Probably you'll need a lot of cash to do it. In case if you have, you can. But generally, as a startup, we have a lot of responsibilities towards
True.
our employees, towards the internal system, towards the services which you have to offer your customer, and you need cash flow. So if it takes time, you will collapse.
Hmm.
Uh, and on the other side, don't do something which has already been happening in India. You'll find it very difficult. You'll really find it very difficult to compete with the global vendors, and this will not happen unless you have a very unique proposition, maybe a single point, but that should be very unique and should be very clicking. Uh, Third thing which I will say is, at least from the current time, if you are building a thing in cybersecurity, and if you are building it for the government, that's the best thing it could be in the current time, because the companies who have been able to survive in the last 1.5 year are the companies who have been serving and who have a large customer base in government.
Hmm.
That's the place from where the cash flow has been coming. Otherwise, the large private sectors, they've hold up their investment due to the
True.
COVID or the pandemic. And a lot of companies have struggled hard because of it. So, and the another factor behind quoting that government's thing is because now the government in the cybersecurity space has made it clear that they will only procure the Indian cybersecurity companies or local
Okay.
suppliers in their you can say procurement jargon. So local suppliers are only eligible to participate, and that's a very, very good space where you can build up your reputation, where you can build
Hmm.
up your volume and the market share.
True, true. No, that's so true. I guess this is, one of the trends that people can look at, and how things are changing in their region, in their state, in their expertise. And any other trends, Karmesh, that you have seen, or
Yeah,
forecast for 2021 and beyond?
absolutely. Cloud delivered security. So if you are doing, I forgot to mention this, I think
Hmm.
that's the future.
Okay.
Whatever you are trying to do it from the cloud delivered security perspective. The solution should be 100% delivered through cloud.
Okay.
It should be a SaaS model kind of thing. It should be OpEx model. So
Hmm.
ensure these two things too, because the future is of cloud delivered security.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
this is growing up and growing up like at a very pretty fast pace. Eventually in the next 3 years, it will going to triple down. So you can understand the potential of this. So if you are doing anything, ensure it is cloud delivered and was on SaaS model basis.
True, true. So, thank you so much, Karmesh, for being on the show today. It was a pleasure having you. I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs out there, students out there who are planning to make a mark in the cybersecurity space would have really gotten great insights from you. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting, Anurag.
So that wraps it up for today, folks. If you liked the episode, give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and let's go viral. Remember, our weekly podcast features episodes on personal growth, mental health, relationships, business and entrepreneurship, and health and fitness. We would love to have Karmesh on our show again in the future to discuss more about the wonderful world of cybersecurity and web in general. So, if you haven't yet done so, hit that subscribe button and go check out our website at sociallydesi.com for more of such content. And as always, before I sign off, remember, life is black and white and everything in between.